I hope you won't hold it against me that I'm still wearing the same shirt I had on earlier this morning on my previous video. I got an interesting comment on one of my videos. Someone said that neither you nor others are experts on the Philippines, which, you know, hey, it's true. Of course, it depends what you call an expert. All people can really do is tell you about their own personal experiences and their own angle on things, you know. But he was talking about how you get a lot of people moving to Dumaguete, you know, spending most of what they thought was going to be their free time that they were going to enjoy in retirement, making YouTube videos. You know, who knows what people do or why they do it, you know, why they spend their time on that. As I replied to the guy personally, I wouldn't move to the Philippines if I didn't already have a life over there, you know. The reason I plan on moving to the Philippines, I've already built a house and everything over there, is because that's where my life is, you know. That's where my wife is from. You know, we have 2 nieces that are basically our children that we're planning to adopt. They're more like our children than our nieces, you know. Basically, we look at them as our daughters. And we have a life there, you know. It's just like living anywhere. I've lived in some places. I know after I got divorced a long time ago up in Pittsburgh, my brother and my mom and everybody had ended up out in Oklahoma in this little town. And I thought I'll pass through and hang out for a little while. And man, it was culture shock living out there. But you know what? Living in that little town, it was good. When we had, you know, at the time I was involved with someone out there, you know, and they, you know, we had, you know, family and friends there. My brother's kids were all young, you know, when they were born, and I watched them grow up and was kind of like a second father to them. And I was always out, you know, picking them up at school and stuff and taking them places, taking them to their gymnastics and dance classes and stuff. And, you know, we had a nice full busy life there. And it can be the same thing in the Philippines. You know, like a small town in the Philippines, people talk about moving to the city or to the provinces. If you have a family there and you're involved in their schooling and all different kinds of stuff like that, you can have a really good full life in a small town. It's different if you're on your own. If you move over to the Philippines on your own, it's probably best to hang out in a bigger town, you know, maybe in the city, or for a lot of people, it ends up being Dumaguete, just because that's where they know there are lots of other expats and people, they can speak the language, they can go hang out, and all of that, which I think is probably why so many people end up in Dumaguete, just because they're moving to the Philippines and they don't already have a life over there, which, you know, sounds kind of odd to already have a life there when you don't live there yet. But if you're married to someone and you have plans and a home and a base of operations and all of that, you know, that's your situation. It's not like somebody just saying, well, you know, I'm in my 60s and I retired and all I've got is a little bit of money and I want to find some place where they speak English and I can make the money last longer. You know, then you're kind of like going in blind, just hoping that something will happen when you get there. So it's a different situation. But the guy made a really good point. You know, the question is, do you have to be an expert to have a YouTube channel? I've thought about that before myself about a lot of things. You know, even with me on my channel, there's a lot of times, you know, that I've held back from making videos on things just because who the hell am I, you know? I'm nobody, you know? But if you look at all these people's channels, it's basically just them and their unique point of view on things. And there are people who it kind of clicks with and who, you know, like that information and they like to follow along and see what the person's thoughts are. When you talk about being an expert on the Philippines, there are various different aspects of that too. You can talk about being an expert on immigration and, you know, what it takes to get a visa to go there. How long does it take to become an expert on that? About 15 minutes? You know? I mean, once you know, you know. There's a certain amount of information you can learn about it, and that's it. When it comes to places to go hang out, restaurants, different buffets and stuff where you can go to, well, you can go there and make videos about that stuff and learn about all those places and how much it costs to eat there. And okay, now you're an expert on eating in the Philippines. The thing that a lot of us talk about is, our own experience with relationships and so forth, which I have an interesting and kind of extensive background in. I know what's going on. Everything is different for everybody. Each individual has a different experience and different outcomes, different things that they've been through, both good and bad, and that makes everyone's experience unique, But you don't have to be an expert to have a YouTube channel. You just have to be someone who feels like, okay, sharing what you know or what you've learned, and maybe it makes you feel good to pass along that information. For me, I don't know if anybody needs to look to me as some kind of an expert. If someone finds that they can learn something from me, or they kind of agree with my outlook on things, like I say, that's why I, for a long time didn't really put out very many videos. But, sometimes you put out videos and you realize that, okay, there are people who want to see it. So why not do it? And why not pursue it and see what happens, If you're trying to find experts on the Philippines, like I say, that just depends on what subject you're trying to find out about. There are very little limited aspects of things that you can focus on and find videos about. Finding people who have expertise in various different aspects of the Philippines is no different than finding people who have expertise on various other different subjects. If you're trying to paint your car a certain color, you can go on YouTube and find somebody who's had experience with that particular kind of paint and can tell you what their experiences were with it. Does that mean they're an expert on all auto refinishing? No. Some home improvement project, you can go on YouTube and find somebody, hey, here's what I did, whatever, That doesn't mean that they're a general contractor. It's, so whether someone's an expert on it or not, I guess, at some point just kind of becomes moot, I think most people understand that a lot of what they're watching, the reason they're watching the stuff, is kind of more for entertainment. If all you're looking for is just information, you can go on YouTube or Google or anywhere else and find the few facts that you need, the information that you need, and be done with it. There's no need to sit around watching people talk about the shit on YouTube. Once you know the information, you have the information. People go on YouTube and watch different things, in part just for the camaraderie and the experience, different people, and just getting different viewpoints on things. It's the same thing with me when I've been sitting around, today on my day off, watching stuff on YouTube about various different guitar amps or, gain pedals for a guitar. I've seen dozens of videos about these things through the years. It's not like I'm going to learn something new. I already know what the product is. I know what it does. But it's interesting to watch somebody else, playing it and doing a little different kind of a sound through it or something. And just, whatever. It's background noise. As far as moving to the Philippines and people going over there and thinking that they are going to enjoy their free time, what do you call enjoying your free time? That's kind of an individual thing too, Maybe that's how they're enjoying their free time, sitting around making videos, documenting what they've learned, and maybe that makes them feel good. Maybe that's the one thing that makes them feel like their day was not a waste, Just because someone is not an expert on it doesn't mean they don't have something to say, something that other people might actually even find interesting. It just depends. You look at some of these guys, their channels, they've got, tens and tens of thousands of views on videos, and, whatever. It's not like they're saying anything earth-shattering or breaking some new ground or new information. Just different people feel like hanging out with different kinds of things and checking it out, And It's the same thing with people that go over there and retire. Yeah, you know, they go over there, they don't really have a plan. They don't have anything really necessarily to do. Everybody else around them is making videos, so they're thinking, well, maybe I will too. And that's their thing, you know? People don't have to watch. In fact, the vast majority of us who have channels, it's not like you've got millions of people watching it or something. But it can be a useful way to spend your time sometimes. And also sometimes just, I think people find that by talking about things, they manage to crystallize it in their own minds too, you know? But you never know what people are going to want to watch on YouTube. That's one thing I've discovered recently, you know, because I don't think that I'm necessarily some expert on everything. When you say things on YouTube, it's just like when you're writing an article about something, you know, like you learn in writing class. You know, you can't be wishy-washy. You kind of have to stake out a position and defend it and say, this is why this and this is why that. And it's the same thing when you make videos on YouTube. You end up coming across sometimes as a little bit more stringent on things than what you may actually be, just because you have to kind of make a point and explain why you feel that that point is relevant. Anyways, so I just wanted to put that out there, that you don't have to be an expert to have a YouTube channel. The vast majority of people who have YouTube channels are not experts. They're not experts in anything. They're entertainers. A lot of people that do have YouTube channels are experts and have a very deep understanding of certain subjects. But unless it's like someone who's doing it for a company or something, you're not just going there for dry information, you know? So, hey, have a YouTube channel. You don't even have to be an expert. You can just play one on YouTube.